Scotland, a land where ancient mountains carve the skyline. Lochs shimmer with mystery, and the sea crashes against timeless cliffs. From the volcanic heart of Edinburgh to the far-flung islands of the Hebrides and Orkney, we're about to journey through Scotland's most breathtaking magical nature. Pack your spirit of adventure. This is Scotland like you've never seen it before. Our journey begins in the dramatic heart of the nation's capital, where wilderness erupts from urbanity. Edinburgh is a city built upon and defined by its ancient geology. Dominating Holyrood Park is Arthur's Seat, rising 251 meters or 823 feet above sea level. This is no mere hill. It is the deeply eroded main vent of an extinct volcano that was active during the Carboniferous period, approximately 340 million years ago. The summit provides a breathtaking 360-degree panorama of the city, the Firth of Forth, and the hills of Fife. But its true magic lies in its layered mythology. While its name famously links it to the legends of King Arthur, suggesting it was the site of his fortress, Camelot, its history runs deeper. Archaeological evidence confirms it was the site of a large hill fort, home to the Votadini tribe during the Iron Age, over 2,000 years ago. The adjacent Salisbury Crags are a geological marvel, and their history is closely linked to Arthur's Seat. While Arthur's Seat was formed by a series of volcanic eruptions and lava flows, the crags themselves are a single sheet of a tough igneous rock called dolerite. The Salisbury Crags were formed not by a volcanic eruption but by a horizontal igneous intrusion. This means that a sheet of magma forced its way between existing layers of sedimentary rock underground before slowly cooling and crystallizing. The crags are a globally important geological site, particularly for their connection to James Hutton, the father of modern geology. In the late 18th century, Hutton studied the contact point between the igneous dolerite of the crags and the surrounding sedimentary rock layers. His observations at this site, now known as Hutton's section, provided crucial evidence for his revolutionary theory that the Earth was much older than previously thought and was constantly being shaped by slow, natural processes. Now these crags are a popular walking route. A short journey northwest, just beyond the suburban fringe, brings us to the official gateway to the Highlands. Loch Lomond and the Trossachs National Park, established in 2002 as Scotland's first national park, is a region of staggering diversity and scale. Loch Lomond itself is the largest inland stretch of water in Great Britain by surface area, covering 71 square kilometers or 27.5 square miles. It is 39 kilometers or 24 miles long and, at its widest point near the island of Inchmoorin, reaches 8 kilometers or 5 miles across. Its geography is uniquely defined by the Highland Boundary Fault Line, which runs through it. This means its northern shores are steep, rocky, and mountainous, plunging to a depth of 190 meters or 623 feet, making it one of the deepest lochs in Scotland. In contrast, the southern shores are gentle, low-lying, and shallow. It is dotted with over 30 islands, each with its own history. The Trossachs, often called the Highlands in miniature, is a lush tapestry of smaller lochs like Quiraing, which provides drinking water to Glasgow and Venacar. This landscape, romanticized by Sir Walter Scott in works like The Lady of the Lake and Rob Roy, feels like a page from a storybook, offering a condensed, accessible version of all the Scottish scenery to come. Venture off the main road, down a narrow country lane, to find one of central Scotland's most secretive and photogenic wonders, the Devil's Pulpit. To reach it, you must descend the worn, slippery, and moss-covered steps of Finnick Glen, known poetically as the Devil's Steps. This descent of over 100 steps feels like traveling back in time, into a hidden, primordial world. The gorge itself is a deep, narrow cleft in the red sandstone, carved by glacial meltwater over millennia. The light filters weakly down to the stream below, which, due to its mineral content and the light-diffusing properties of the red rock, flows a startling, perpetual blood red or rusty orange. The namesake pulpit is a large, flat-topped rock jutting from the wall midstream. Local legend is unequivocal. This is where the devil himself would stand to preach to his gathered followers in the chasm below. The atmosphere is damp, cool, and intensely atmospheric, a hidden pocket of pure folklore. It's worth noting that access has become a point of conservation concern, as the steps have eroded significantly from increased visitor numbers. Now for a different kind of arboreal and aquatic magic. We travel to the Hermitage Forest near Dunkeld in Perthshire. This is a monument to trees, planted in the 18th century by the Dukes of Athole as part of the picturesque movement. It is home to some of the tallest trees in the United Kingdom, including magnificent grand firs and Douglas firs that soar over 60 meters, almost 200 feet high. A walk through this cathedral of giants, along the rushing River Braun, leads to the thunderous Black Lynn Falls. Here, in 1758, the Dukes built Ossian's Hall, a small, decorated folly and viewing gallery designed purely to frame the awesome power of the falling water. You would enter the dark hall to be suddenly presented with the dramatic view through windows that open directly onto the crashing falls. The falls themselves are a powerful cascade where the Braun constricts and plunges over a series of rocky steps, creating a constant, roaring mist. Further south, near the historic 18th century cotton mill village of New Lanark, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, lies the Falls of Clyde. This is not a single drop, but a spectacular series of 4 powerful waterfalls on the River Clyde, spanning a dramatic section of the river. From upstream to downstream, they are Bonington Linn, Cora Linn, Dundaff Linn, and Stonebyres Linn. The undisputed queen is Cora Linn, Gaelic for the Roaring Falls. It is a magnificent, multi-tiered cascade with a total drop of 27 meters or 90 feet, making it one of the highest waterfalls in the lowlands. These falls were not just objects of beauty, they were the very engine of the Industrial Revolution in this region. Their immense power was harnessed by the cleverly designed water channels to drive the machinery for the cotton mills of New Lanark and later, Lanark itself. Today, they are a protected sanctuary within a Scottish Wildlife Trust reserve. The cliffs surrounding Cora Linn are a prime nesting site for peregrine falcons, and the area is a powerful testament to how industry and stunning natural beauty can coexist and be reclaimed by nature, with the roar of the water a constant reminder of both its natural and industrial power. Stretching for over 41 kilometers or 25 miles through the heart of Argyll, Loch Awe is the longest freshwater loch in Scotland. Its name, from the Gaelic Loch Oba, truly means what it is: a loch that inspires awe. It is also exceptionally deep, plunging to 93.6 meters, 307 feet. Its shores are dotted with the ruins of ancient castles, the most iconic being Kilcoon Castle, which stands on a rocky peninsula at the northern end. Its 15th century keep and barracks creating a hauntingly beautiful silhouette against the water and the mountains of Ben Louis. The loch is renowned for its prolific trout and salmon fishing and is a major source of hydroelectric power. Legend says it is also home to a mythical creature known as the Beach Mór Loch Oba, a kind of serpentine beast, a lesser-known but equally fearsome cousin of the more famous Nessie. And now we leave the gentle roll of the central belt behind. The land rises sharply, the glens narrow into deep troughs, and the mountains begin to crowd the sky, their profiles jagged and imposing. We are entering the West Highlands and the Argyll coast, a land of epic scale, profound beauty, and often somber history written into the very rock. But it is Glencoe that truly captures the somber, majestic soul of the Highlands. The Glencoe Valley is a place of breathtaking scale and tragic history. These steep, brooding mountains are the remains of a colossal caldera of a supervolcano that erupted during the Ordovician period, around 420 million years ago. The landscape we see today, a classic U-shaped valley, was carved by immense glaciers during the last ice age. Its history is etched in tragedy. It was the site of the infamous 1692 massacre of the Clan MacDonald, where soldiers, guests of the clan for nearly 2 weeks, turned on their hosts on a snowy February morning under government orders, an event that scarred the Scottish psyche. The weather here changes in an instant, with mists swirling around the peaks of Beatty Nam Bien and the Three Sisters like the Cunyag, the ghosts of the fallen women, a palpable echo of the past. Nearby, Glen Edive is a quieter, but no less stunning single-track road that runs through a perfect, deep U-shaped glacial valley, following the River Edive from its majestic moorland source to its end at the Sea Loch, a scene of serene isolation that has captivated filmmakers, most notably the James Bond film Skyfall. Towering over all, both literally and figuratively, is Ben Nevis. At 1,345 meters, 4,413 feet, it is the UK's unequivocal highest peak. The Ben is a monarch of rock and scree, its summit a vast, stony plateau that is the collapsed dome of an ancient Devonian volcano. It is climbed by over 150,000 people a year via the punishing pony track. Yet its weather is notoriously treacherous and Arctic, with the summit shrouded in cloud 355 days a year on average and hosting ruins of an observatory that was staffed year-round in the late 19th century. At the foot of Ben Nevis, in the beautiful, steep-sided Nevis Gorge, a hidden gem awaits. Stell Waterfall, known in Gaelic as an Stelbon, meaning the white spout. This is Scotland's second highest waterfall with a single drop of 120 meters or 390 feet. It tumbles in a graceful, often wind-whipped cascade down a sheer rock face into a verdant, hidden valley. The approach walk is an adventure in itself, culminating in a nerve-testing 3-wire bridge over the raging River Nevis. A test of nerve that rewards you with an awe-inspiring view of the waterfall's immense power and beauty. To the north of Glencoe lies the vast, haunting, and trackless expanse of Rannoch Moor. Covering over 130 square kilometers or 50 square miles of boggy wilderness, this is one of Europe's last true wildernesses. It is a vast, soggy peatland pockmarked with countless lochs, heather, and weather-scarred rocks. The ground is a treacherous, spongy mass of sphagnum moss and water, difficult to traverse. It feels ancient, empty, and utterly compelling, a place where time has stood still since the glaciers retreated. Its sheer, stark emptiness is its most powerful feature, a stark reminder of the raw, sculpting power of the ice age that formed it. The West Highland Line and the A82 road perform engineering miracles to cross its southern edge, offering travelers breathtaking views of this desolate beauty. And then, a sight that seems to defy both nature and engineering: the Glenfinnan Viaduct. Widely recognized as the Hogwarts Express Bridge from the Harry Potter films. The viaduct, with its dramatic arches and stunning Highland backdrop, became an iconic image for fans around the world. Set against the stunning backdrop of the rugged hills is an icon of Victorian engineering. This 21-arched, curved railway viaduct, built from 1897 to 1901 in concrete. The viaduct is situated in a dramatic, scenic landscape, overlooking the Glenfinnan Monument and the waters of Loch Ness. Is a key part of one of the most picturesque train journeys in the world. Below it, at the head of Loch Ness, a freshwater loch in the Scottish Highlands, located about 20 kilometers around 12 miles west of Fort William. It is a long, narrow loch stretching for about 28 kilometers or 17.5 miles, and is the fourth longest loch in Scotland. Loch Ness is a place of great historical importance. At its northern end, the Glenfinnan Monument marks the spot where Bonnie Prince Charlie raised his standard in 1745, beginning the final Jacobite Rising. The loch is famous for its role in the Harry Potter films, where it was used as the fictional Black Lake near Hogwarts. The area around Loch Ness is designated as a special protection area for its diverse bird population, including black-throated divers and golden eagles. The surrounding hills are well-wooded, and the loch itself is known for fishing, particularly for brown trout and salmon. A short drive north, near the village of Killen, the Falls of Dochart provide a dramatic and accessible finale to the journey west. These wide, powerful falls crash over worn rocks and around small, tree-covered islands, including the ancient burial ground of Clan MacNab, before flowing under the old bridge in a spectacular, foaming torrent. The Falls of Dochart are not a single, dramatic drop, but rather a powerful, frothy cascade of water tumbling over a wide, jagged bedrock. The appearance of the falls changes dramatically depending on recent rainfall. They can be a gentle flow or a raging torrent. These falls are one of Scotland's most easily accessible waterfalls, as they are located right in the village. Journeying north across the Great Glen, the landscape shifts once more in character and geology. The mountains grow older, their forms more weathered, isolated, and strangely individual. This is the Northwest Highlands, a UNESCO-recognized global geopark, a geological wonderland containing some of the oldest rocks on Earth, a stark and magnificent testament to continental collision and erosion. We begin at Loch Ness. While its celebrity lies in the myth of its elusive monster, its grandeur is rooted in sheer physical fact. This is the second largest Scottish loch by surface area after Loch Lomond. However, due to its immense depth, it is the largest by volume in the British Isles, containing more water than all the lakes in England and Wales combined. Its deepest point is about 230 meters or 755 feet, deeper than the North Sea. It stretches for 36 kilometers, approximately 22.5 miles along the Great Glen Fault, a geological scar that slices across Scotland. The water is famously dark and peat-stained, a condition that fuels the legend but is born of the surrounding landscape. Loch Ness is not an isolated body of water. It is part of the Caledonian Canal, a waterway that connects the east and west coasts of Scotland. The ruins of Urquhart Castle on its western shore stand as a silent sentinel to centuries of human history, their reflection in the often ominous, still waters adding to the loch's profound and mysterious atmosphere. Then we venture west, into the very heart of the Highland spirit. Our path leads us to a triumvirate of sea lochs that finger their way into the land. Loch Duich, Loch Long, and Loch Alsh. These are not freshwater lochs but arms of the sea, their waters saline and tidal, reflecting the sky and mountains with a brilliant, shifting light. They form a stunning maritime landscape. It is here, at the head of Loch Duich, that we find the domain of the Five Sisters of Kintail. A stunning and iconic mountain range in the Northwest Highlands of Scotland. They are part of a larger ridge known as the North Glen Shiel Ridge, which sits at the head of Loch Duich. They are particularly famous for their dramatic, serrated profile and the challenging hill-walking traverse they offer. This majestic range of 5 steeply ridged peaks, Sgurn and Spaintyak, Sgurn and Carnochsc, Sgurroarin, Sgurn and Soghead, and Sgurn and Morich, forms one of the most famous and beloved mountain views in Scotland. Their classic, parallel ridges and sharp peaks are a hallmark of the Kintail region, formed from resistant quartzite. The legend tells the story of the 7 daughters of the King of Kintail. 2 Irish princes were shipwrecked on the shores of Loch Duich and fell in love with 2 of the 7 daughters. The princes married the youngest 2 and promised to send their 5 brothers for the others. When the brothers never returned, the 5 waiting sisters pleaded with a local magician to preserve their beauty. He transformed them into the majestic, 5-peaked mountain range known today as the Five Sisters of Kintail. Their eternal patience and grief are etched into the very skyline. Moving north from Kintail, the scenery becomes even more raw and primordial around Loch Torridon. The Torridon Hills, including the mighty giants of Leark, Ben Alligan, and Ben I, which made of Torridonian sandstone, a reddish Precambrian rock that is over 750 million years old. These mountains rise like ancient, impregnable castles. Their terraced faces formed by weathering and glaciation, glowing a spectacular red and orange in the light of the setting sun. They are steep, challenging, and with some of the most rewarding and serious mountain climbing and hiking in the country. With Liarc's infamous Fazarinen or the Teeth Ridge providing a thrilling, exposed scramble for experienced mountaineers. East of Torridon lies Loch Maree, held by many connoisseurs as Scotland's most beautiful freshwater loch. It stretches 20 kilometers or 12.5 miles long and is over 3 kilometers or 1.8 miles wide at points, with a maximum depth of 114 meters or 374 feet. Its surface is scattered with over 60 wooded islands, many of which contain their own smaller islands. Isle Maree is the most famous, holding a prehistoric stone circle, a holy well dedicated to Saint Maelrubba, an Irish saint who gave the loch its name in the 7th century, and an ancient wish tree where pilgrims would hammer coins into the trunk for luck or leave offerings or rags as part of a healing ritual. Another local legends includes a tales of pagan rituals of sacrifice of bulls, and a tradition of plunging people with mental illness into the loch's waters in hopes of a cure. The area also has a history of ironworking in the 17th century, which led to the clearing of some of the surrounding oak woodlands. The loch's beauty, serenity, and sacred history have made it a place of pilgrimage for centuries. But nothing prepares you for the surreal and otherworldly Assynt landscape. This is a place that defies all expectation of what a mountain should be. From the vast, watery plain of Inverpolly, a classic Knock and Lochan topography of countless small hills and lakes, rise great solitary mountains, not in connected ranges, but as individual iconic monoliths. The sheer-sided, sandstone whaleback of Sullivan looks like a great humpback rising from the moor, its 2-kilometer-long summit ridge offering some of the most dramatic walking in Scotland. The jagged, rocky crest of Stac Polyid is a popular, shorter but exhilarating climb, its Torridonian sandstone pinnacles eroded into fantastic shapes, offering unbelievable views of the surrounding wilderness. The long, graceful ridge of Canisp stands as a silent, quartzite sentinel. They are not the highest mountains, but their profound isolation from one another makes them surreal, dreamlike titans watching over a vast wilderness of countless lochans and deep peat bog. The drama continues relentlessly at the coast. Near the village of Unapool, the wailing widow falls plunge seaward with a mournful cry. This powerful waterfall has a drop of about 50 meters, around 164 feet, in several stages. The waterfall is the outflow of Loch Na Gamehead, which tumbles over a sheer cliff face. The name Wailing Widow Falls comes from a tragic local legend. The most common version of the story involves a young deer hunter who, while out in a thick fog, tragically fell to his death from the top of the waterfall. His mother, a widow, was so overcome with grief when she found his body that she threw herself from the same spot the following morning. The mournful cry of her grief is said to have given the waterfall its name, and some say her spirit still wails with the sound of the cascading water. Further north, after a 6.5-kilometer around 4-mile walk from Blairmore, Sandwood Bay offers a mile of pristine pink-hued sand and towering dunes. A remote beach that feels like the edge of the world. There is no road access to Sandwood Bay. It can only be reached by a 6.5 kilometers around 4-mile hike from the small car park at the hamlet of Blairmore, near Kinlochbervie. This effort is what preserves its unspoiled character. It is guarded by the dramatic sea stack Am Boachael, the herdsman, and is said to be haunted by the ghost of a shipwrecked sailor from the Spanish Armada, a place of profound, lonely, and windswept beauty. At Smoo Cave near Durness, a vast sea cave complex presents a geological marvel. The main chamber is a huge sea-carved cathedral, 60 meters long and 40 meters wide, accessible by a short path. A unique feature is the freshwater waterfall, the Alt Smoo, which cascades dramatically 25 meters around 82 feet through a hole in the cave roof into a second, inner chamber, which can be explored by boat. It's a place where a sea cave and a river tunnel have merged into one spectacular natural wonder. Evidence suggests the cave was occupied in the Iron Age, and its name may derive from the Old Norse smuga, meaning hiding place. And the relentless power of water is on full, terrifying display at Corryshalloch Gorge, Gaelic for Ugly Hollow. This vast, deep slash in the earth is not a river valley but a glacial meltwater channel. Over 1.5 kilometers, about 1 mile long and 60 meters, around 200 feet deep. A Victorian suspension bridge, built in 1814, hangs precariously over the dizzying drop, offering heart-stopping views down to where the falls of Misak thunder and plunge 46 meters or 150 feet into the dark, mossy abyss below. The volume and force of the water, especially after rain, are immense, sending a constant spray that nourishes the rare mosses and liverworts on the gorge walls. Further east, on the shores of the famous Loch Ness, the Falls of Foyers are a spectacular two-stage cascade. The upper fall drops 9 meters, about 30 feet, and the main fall plunges 27 meters, around 90 feet, into a deep, cauldron-like gorge known as the Cauldron. They were a major tourist attraction in the Victorian era and famously inspired a poem by Robert Burns, who marveled at their cauldron and roaring power. And now, we cross the sea to the Isle of Legends, the place where fantasy and reality blur into one under a frequently misty sky. The Isle of Skye. The very name, from the Old Norse ski for Cloud Island, sets the stage for drama and mystery. The island is dominated by the Quiraing Ridge, a brutal, serrated mountain range that divides into two distinct groups, the Black Quiraing and the Red Quiraing. The Black Quiraing are the real prize for mountaineers, 12 kilometers, about 7.5 miles of jagged peaks including Scur Alastair, the island's highest point at 992 meters or 3,255 feet. They are formed from jaggy, rough gabbro rock, which provides excellent grip but a terrifyingly steep and exposed traverse over pinnacles like the inaccessible Pinnacle, a true knife-edge ridge that is the only Munro requiring a rock climb to summit. The Red Quiraing are rounder, older, and made of granite that gives them a reddish hue. For climbers, the full traverse of the Black Quiraing is the Holy Grail, a challenging 12-hour-plus journey that represents the most alpine experience in the UK. At the heart of the Black Quiraing, accessible only by a long, arduous hike from Sliagachan or by boat from the village of Elgall, lies the most remote and dramatic of lochs, Loch Corruisk. Its name from the Gaelic Corre Oishk means cauldron of water. Its still, dark, and deep waters are encircled by the sheerest of mountain walls, including the mighty Scor na Strí, a place of profound silence and power. It feels utterly removed from the modern world. Gaelic folklore warns that it is the dwelling place of an Each-Witch, a shape-shifting water horse far more vicious and deadly than the Kelpie of the streams, a creature that would drag its prey to a watery doom in the deep, cold, and inescapable water. But Skye's water magic is more accessible at the fairy pools. Located in the foothills of the Black Quiraing near Glenbertle, this is a series of crystal clear, azure blue pools and waterfalls that cascade down from the Quiraings. The water is breathtakingly cold, fed by pure mountain springs and snowmelt from the high peaks. The beauty is utterly enchanting, with the clarity of the water and the spectacular backdrop of the mountains creating a scene that truly feels like a gateway to the otherworld. The pools are interconnected by a series of small waterfalls and are famous for people braving the cold for a swim. It's easy to understand how they got their name. This is a place where you could easily believe the fae folk might gather under the moonlight. The weird and wonderful rock formations continue at the Old Man of Storr. This giant 50-meter, around 164-foot-high pinnacle of rock is the most prominent feature of the mighty Storr landslide, a vast area of rocky debris that slipped from the summit slopes of the Storr millennia ago. It is one of Scotland's most iconic landmarks, a place of swirling mists and ancient geology. The walk up through the sanctuary of otherworldly rock pinnacles feels like approaching a giant's cathedral. Unsurprisingly, it features heavily in local myth. One tale says the Old Man is the thumb of a giant buried in the landscape, while others say the pinnacles are the remains of ancient, petrified beings. Nearby, on the Trotternish Peninsula, the Quiraing is a vast, otherworldly landslip on the eastern flank of Míl na Suramach. Crucially, it is still moving, with shifts of a few centimeters each year, meaning its geography is ever-changing. A walk through its folds reveals hidden plateaus like the Table, a flat area hidden amongst the cliffs, jagged pinnacles like the Needle, and cliff-edged vistas like the Prison that feel like the edge of the world. It is a dramatic, almost alien landscape that offers some of the most spectacular and photogenic walking and views on the entire island. More gentle, but no less magical, is the Fairy Glen near Uig. This is a natural landscape of miniature, cone-shaped grassy hills and pond-dotted valleys. It feels so perfectly whimsical that it must have been crafted by little hands. Its origins are less magical but no less fascinating. It is the result of a massive ancient landslip, much like the Quiraing, but weathered into these peculiar, charming forms. Visitors often build small stone cairns as offerings to the fairies, though conservationists urge people to let the glen remain as it is to prevent damage to the fragile turf. And the Lilt Falls present a different kind of spectacle. Located on the eastern coast of the Isle of Skye, this is not a single waterfall but a dramatic series of cascades where the River Lilt carves a deep and spectacular gorge before plunging 90 meters through the sedimentary rock on its final rush to the sea. The main drop is substantial, but the true drama lies in the entire scene. The powerful water, the deep, crumbling gorge walls, and the final expanse of the sea below. Old ruins of a diatomite factory near its mouth stand as a ghostly reminder of a brief industrial past, now being reclaimed by the relentless natural forces that surround them. Skye's coast is equally dramatic. At Kilt Rock, the sea cliffs are formed of spectacular basalt columns that resemble the pleats of a kilt, with bands of lighter dolerite sills representing the tartan. Here, the melt falls are fed from the inland loch melt and pour directly over the 55-meter, nearly 180-foot cliff edge into the sea far below. A viewing platform allows you to experience the full force of this sea-bound cascade. A short distance away, Lilt Falls creates a powerful and deep gorge as it makes its own dramatic rush to the ocean, with a series of falls and a historic diatomite works ruin adding to its interest. And for those who seek it out, Asab Bradun, the Falls of the Salmon, is a hidden, serene 15-meter, around 50-foot waterfall deep in the woods near Portree, a secret spot of quiet beauty often missed by the crowds, its pool a tranquil place for reflection. The magic of the Hebrides extends far beyond Skye. To the south lies the Isle of Mull, a haven of wildlife with its own mighty peak, Ben More, which at 966 meters, around 3,169 feet, is the only Munro outside of Skye. It's a challenging but straightforward climb with a commanding view of the surrounding islands. The island's beauty is captured at Loch Ness, a sea loch where the dark cliffs of Gribben seem to plunge directly into the deep, dark water, and where the tiny, iconic islands of Staffa and the Treshnish Isles at the horizon. On Mull's west coast, near the settlement of Dervaig, Asfur's waterfall is a unique and powerful cascade. It crashes down in 3 distinct and beautiful tiers, with the final stage pouring directly over the cliff onto the rocky shore below, a dramatic and photogenic meeting of fresh and salt water. But perhaps the greatest geological wonder of all lies on the tiny, uninhabited Isle of Staffa, Fingal's Cave, a sea cave composed entirely of magnificent, hexagonal basalt columns, identical to those of the Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland. It is a cathedral of nature's perfect geometry, formed by the cooling of Paleocene lava flows 60 million years ago. The cave is 22 meters or 72 feet high and 82 meters or 269 feet deep. The sea swells and echoes within the cavern, creating a profound, musical roar that inspired Felix Mendelssohn's Hebrides Overture after his visit in 1829. In Gaelic, it's known as Wam Bin, the melodious cave. To enter by small boat on a calm day is to experience one of the world's great natural acoustical chambers, a place where art and nature collide in perfect, awe-inspiring harmony. Journeying to the very edge of the map, we find the Outer Hebrides or Western Isles, a string of islands where the Atlantic rules and Gaelic culture thrives. Here, on the Isle of Harris, are beaches that defy the northern latitude and shatter expectations. Luscantire is a vision of unbelievable beauty, vast expanses of blinding white sand, composed of crushed shell known as machair sand, and turquoise water that would look more at home in the Caribbean. The beach is immense, and the tides reveal vast sand flats. It is backed by rolling machair, a rare, fertile grassland ecosystem full of wildflowers in summer, and the dramatic mountains of North Harris. The light here is incredible, constantly shifting with the weather, creating a breathtaking, almost surreal contrast to the ruggedness expected from Scotland. And further north still to the northern Isles of Orkney and Shetland, whose Norse heritage runs deeper than their Scottish ties. On Orkney's island of Hoy, the Old Man of Hoy stands guard, a towering 137-meter, 449-foot, red sandstone sea stack, one of the tallest in the United Kingdom. It is a relatively young feature, perhaps only 400 years old, and is constantly battered by the fierce seas of the Pentland Firth, meaning it may one day collapse. It was first climbed in 1966 and is a mecca for rock climbers, a symbol of defiant resilience against the elements. And on Shetland's west coast, the cliffs of Ishanis are a brutal, magnificent spectacle. This is the raw edge of Europe, where some of the oldest volcanic cliffs on Earth, formed during the Devonian period over 400 million years ago, have been sculpted by endless Atlantic storms into grottos, blowholes, natural arches, and jagged arcs against a raging sea. The lighthouse here, built in 1929, stands as a solitary sentinel against the immense, overwhelming power of the ocean. And finally, we turn to the often overlooked East Coast. From the shores of East Lothian, a great volcanic plug rises 107 meters, 351 feet, from the waters of the Firth of Forth. This is the base rock. From a distance, it appears white-capped, not with snow, but with the over 150,000 northern gannets that call it home during the breeding season, spring to autumn, making it the world's largest single rock gannetry. The air around it is a constant, dizzying whirlwind of avian activity. It has served as a hermitage for St. Baldred in the 8th century, a notorious prison for Covenanters in the 17th century, and a fortress. Today, it is a protected wildlife sanctuary, a single, dramatic exclamation mark on the horizon, teeming with life and a powerful symbol of Scotland's rich natural heritage. From the heart of its cities to the very edge of the world, Scotland's landscape is a continuous story written in rock, water, and light. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us again for more adventures. Until next time, happy travels!